Hey, it's Aaron, Dave, and our buddy from the Word66, Steve, here on the Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience. And so, how you doing, Steve?
I am doing great. How are you guys doing today?
Good, good. I'm stuck at home with beautiful weather outside, and Dave's at this con.
Stockton. I'm at
Okay.
Stockton. Let me see if I can flip the camera around.
Okay.
I don't know how to do this. So, but here, let me just do this.
All
There you
right. Okay.
So
Lots of
that's where
people.
I'm at. There is a lot of people here. SpongeBob SquarePants is here.
Really? Are you gonna get his autograph?
Yeah, the guy who plays SpongeBob is here. Also, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So I'm gonna get a piece of wood signed by Jim Duggan.
That's the wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember.
I'm thinking of getting Patrick a piece of wood for Christmas.
Does he still wrestle? I remember he used to be around. I haven't watched wrestling in many years, but I do remember him.
No, he doesn't wrestle anymore. He was part of the Superstars era and all that. He's one of the aging wrestlers. So
Gotcha.
But Word66, you got a couple of new songs out, right?
Yes, sir.
They've been new for what, like 6 months now, something like that. Because I know you sent us some a while back.
The latest track is actually was released on January 3rd, so it's not that old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the chosen one you released mid-year, right? 2023.
Yeah, toward the end of 2023. Yeah.
Okay.
And that one shows off the softer side of the Word66.
The new one is actually a love ballad. Yes.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It was when I first turned it on. It wasn't what I was expecting from the Word66. It was the ballad side, which I don't think we've heard from you, have we? A real ballad type song?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So good stuff.
Yeah, thanks. You know, we just, that's our softer side for sure. And that one really came from the heart. You know, I wrote that song a little ways back, and it was just a time where, you know, I was wondering when God was going to send me that special girl, because I was, you know, dating and then not dating and dating and not dating and married and not married. And so just one day I was pretty bummed out, and I just picked up my acoustic guitar, and that's where the love stuff usually comes from.
Right.
The acoustic.
I always say, like, the artist, and I'll use Billy Joel as an example. They made this really edgy music when they were hungry and you know, in need and all, whatever it was in their life, you know. But then, you know, Billy meets Christy Brinkley and he's got money, and you get a song like Uptown Girl, which is, in my opinion, a throwaway in the catalog, you know. You got to keep your edge. So now, isn't it interesting? I always find it interesting how musicians and bands, they'll come up with something, you know, 6 years ago, and then just kind of set it aside and like let it age like wine and bring it back and go, I'll do something with it now. Sounds kind of like that's what you did with this, with The Chosen.
Yeah. You write all these songs over the years, and a lot of stuff kind of sits, like I said, and collects dust, you know, and you kind of forget about a lot of them too. As a matter of fact, there's probably quite a few songs that I don't even remember that I wrote. And every so often, if I pick up my guitar, something will just pop into my head, and I go like, oh yeah, I forgot about that song. So How Will I Know is not one of those. It's just something that I always wanted to record. And when we went back in the studio, I told the guys, I said, I'd really like to record this track and see what happens, because again, it's from the heart, and it's something I believe that everybody can relate to, whether it be in their lives now, or there's been a time where they were single and they were just wondering when God was going to send them that special girl.
Yeah, it's see, I can't do that with what I do. I can't come up with something 6 years ago and then set it aside, then I'm talking about Obama era stuff, or something from the 90s. It just doesn't fit anymore. But bands, you have this way of keeping it fresh, and it some of the best stuff sometimes comes out of when it's just been set aside for a while, and you come back to it, and you're in that place in your life, like you were talking about. It just started coming back to you. So how have things been for the Word66 otherwise? You've been busy doing shows, or what's going on?
Haven't been doing a lot of shows. We do want to this year go out and definitely do some touring.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of releasing a track here and there, just so people know that we're still around and we didn't disappear, kind of thing. We are still searching for that elusive record deal. We literally have 8 deal offers on the table right now, but I'm not really sure that any of them, to be honest, would really benefit the band all that much.
Yeah, you got to do what's right for you, and what's right for you isn't necessarily what's right for somebody else. But
right,
you gotta. I think there's a lot of well-intentioned people out there, and then there's some people that are just looking to make a buck. And you got to sift through those sort of people to find the gem.
It's true. And there's a lot of places out there too that call themselves record labels, but they're not really record labels, so to speak. They're really promotional firms.
Yeah.
PR firms, and they're calling themselves record labels, so they kind of trick you into thinking that you're signing like a record deal, but you're really just hiring a promotional company to do some promotions for you.
Yeah. Well, and that might be the right thing for somebody as well.
Right.
We talk to so many different bands, and some bands are looking to be the next Skillet, and some bands are pretty happy, like, I'm not ever signing with anybody. We just like doing what we do. So like that goes back to what works for you as an individual, because what's right for you isn't necessarily right for somebody else.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these places too, they find bands that are in the very startup stage, I believe, in their careers, and they really don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So they really need someone. So they have a record or whatever, and they go like, okay, we got this record now. What do we do with it, kind of thing. So they don't know how to, really be self-starters, I guess, and really go out there and find out, do a lot of research, and send your material out to all kinds of radio stations and podcasts like yourselves, and management companies and labels, and just try to do your own thing. So a lot of these people, they don't know what to do. So those places are perfect for a lot of those people as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those, people have different strengths. Some people might have that whole marketing skill and the charisma to go along with it, and they don't need somebody to help them along. And then others that, they might not have those skills, and it's much easier, it's much more beneficial to hire somebody to go be your face for you, and you get to be the band. What's unfortunate is it's not like what it was before streaming, where you had the big record companies and you just work your way up, and one of them would hit eventually. And also kind of a right place, right time. Seattle grunge in the 90s, 80s glam in Hollywood, but now it's so diverse and so scattered, and there's a million things for people to listen to. How do you get somebody listening to you? That's a hard question to answer.
And there's not much money in this, like you said, anymore. So it's kind of so when these firms too are asking for money, a lot of us, let's face it, a lot of us musicians are poor, right? We don't really have thousands of dollars to.
You're not just sitting around with Taylor Swift.
Right. Right.
But
So-
you had some pretty good success with The Chosen One. You got over, 150,000 streams on Spotify.
172. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, get it right, Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, every stream counts, man.
That's true. How did that come about for you? I mean, did you push it real hard, or it just kind of took off on its own?
A little bit of both. So we've kind of established a little bit of a following along the way from our previous tracks, and of course on our latest record, and especially on that song, we have Danny Miranda from Queen and Blue Oyster Cult playing bass on the track as well. So that's a little bit of a thing too that we were happy to be able to mention to people. So I think that also helped. Even though the other songs also have him on those tracks as well, and did not do as well, like on Spotify and all other places. But I think people really liked the song. So, and we did the video for it as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's a track that people really liked. So hoping that the momentum was going to keep on going with the new track.
Well, it seems that way. It's got a good early start as far as streaming goes and all that, and it is a really good song.
Thank you.
It does show as Dave said, the softer side. How did that come about? I mean, you wrote the song at a time, a couple years ago or a few years ago. Why now release it?
Like I said, when we were going into the studio, it's always hard to choose the songs that you want to record because you've got so many to choose from, and you're trying to figure out what would be best. So we kind of wanted to be a little diverse this time out. It's great because this one review that we got, the guy kind of called it a concept record because we had The Chosen One, which is pretty heavy, and Tonight is the Night, which is pretty heavy. We had Just to Show My Love, which is kind of more what I would call Christian contemporary. And then we had this other one, which is a ballad. So and the way we kind of released them, it was kind of cool because he said it's kind of seemed to him like a concept kind of record. So we kind of wanted to hit a few different markets, honestly, when we released the record. So we had the heavier stuff. We were hoping we're going to get played on, your heavy metal stations, your hard rock stations, and then Just to Show My Love and the ballad, How Will I Know, more on the Christian contemporary side.
Now you're getting a lot of spin on the airwaves, aren't you?
Yes, lots. We currently have 3 songs charting in different places in the world right now.
Wow, and so it's not just local Las Vegas, it's other places.
Oh, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, there's one really big Christian contemporary station out here, SOS Radio. I'm sure you're familiar with. So I've been in contact with the music director and the program director. And as a matter of fact, I talked to him yesterday. They really like the tracks, and I am hoping, fingers crossed, and praying that God will allow those songs to be put in the regular rotation.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That would be big. And then, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, we've got stuff charting in the UK and England, UK. We just were on a list, number 3 in Spain.
Wow.
We're in Russia. We're list there. And there's probably several places that we are charting at the moment.
Wow. Interesting. Hey, Aaron, you want to go ahead and slide that in right here?
Yes. Yeah. That would be great. And so
let's do that. So this is the Word66 on Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience. All right, Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience. Aaron, Dave, no Patrick, no Jermaine. Jermaine said he was going to jump on, but he's loading up today. He's got to load in at 3, he said, or 4.
Yeah.
So he's a little busy.
little
But,
sound check, and he's playing with Disciple tonight. So
Oh,
a great
no.
opportunity for him to gather more fans.
Very cool.
Did he keep that secret from me so I wouldn't bug Kevin?
I
Kevin?
I
Now I'm
don't know.
texting. Now I'm texting.
Yeah. Hey,
Anyway,
Steve, you said earlier that you guys are hoping to do some tour dates, some gigs. What's that going to look like? Is that going to be like a West Coast or just in the local area?
All over the place. I mean, we don't want to go out for long periods of time. You know, we just want to do short tours. We're too old for this stuff, man. You know, we don't want to go out for long periods of time. And I've got my dogs at home and stuff too. And I gotta, probably wind up having to hire a dog sitter to come in and feed my dogs and stuff too. And also check to make sure that they're not chewing up my home.
Right.
Know?
Well, I think the last time you were on, one was on the show, and so
Yes,
they're a little quieter today.
Yes, I remember I had to run out a couple times and yell at them to be quiet. So they're just kind of sitting here now and just hanging out, and they're watching, I think.
They've been to obedience school, and now they're a little better.
Yeah, it's not too noisy outside today, so they're quiet.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to get going here. Steve, it was good talking to you.
Always a pleasure, Dave.
And next time I'm down in Vegas, we'll definitely hook up. Fantastic.
I would like that, man. That'd be great.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it, bud.
Hey, I want to get back to the song "The Chosen One." How you did a video. Just tell our audience a little bit about that song.
So "The Chosen One" is basically about Jesus and the miracles that he performs. So in the video, I play a savior, and I'm driving around in a car, and I'm saving the souls that need to be saved. So there's a couple of hookers in the beginning, and there's a homeless guy that's had a lot of issues in his life, and there's a couple of guys that are robbing this other guy, and basically I just kind of drive up and just give them a look, and they just kind of get in my car, and we take a drive, and we go to a spot in the desert where we park, and these people just kind of line up behind me, and we just start walking into the middle of nowhere, and then the car and us, we just kind of disappear, meaning that all has been saved, and we're on our way to the kingdom of heaven. That's
great. So, have you watched the TV series The Chosen?
I've sort of yes and sort of no. I haven't been able to watch too many of them because, to be honest with you, it's not the most exciting series.
Okay.
It kind of bores me.
Okay.
So, but I keep giving it tries, because of the subject matter, and I want to get back to it again. And I keep sitting there waiting for something to happen. I'm like, okay, all right, this is okay. I'm trying. So, I understand there's a new season coming.
Yeah, we've watched. I'm a huge fan of the show, but the reason I brought it up is, one of the times he did a miracle, and the guy, like jumps on him, is so happy that he now can see or walk. I can't remember which miracle. And I guess, reading the Bible, that never really came out to me. But watching it on TV and watching just the excitement and the guy jump on him and the guy playing, portraying Jesus is laughing and is joyful with him. And I never even thought of that, that they would, just go, thank you very much and leave. But, the excitement and all that I found, just sort of new to me. It's put a different perspective when you read the miracles that Jesus performed.
Yeah, I believe that it was 37, I believe.
Yeah. And so besides the upcoming tour, what's when does the Word66 get back in the studio?
As a matter of fact, I'm going back in hopefully sometime next week. The next track is going to be called Faith is the Key. And I'd like to remix the track. I don't know. It's just I listen to it back and it just kind of bugs me a little bit. So there's a couple of things that I'd really like to fix on it. So I'm going to probably go back in, like I said, this coming week or the week after. Excuse me. I'd like to remix it before a release. So probably about another month before a new track will be out.
Do you master all your stuff yourself?
Myself, no.
Okay.
No, my producer takes care of all that stuff for me.
Okay. So you have a producer.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have like a major setup. You know, I just have like a little Serato in my laptop and in my bedroom kind of thing. And I just record some stuff, you know, here and there kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. You said you wrote the ballad with the acoustic guitar. What do you do? Do you do piano when you put together most of the time, or acoustic guitar? I mean, electric guitar?
You know, I don't play piano, although I want to learn one of these days. I'd like to at least learn some basics so I can do a little bit of stuff here and there. But the guitar, for me, when I pick up the acoustic, I'm more in a mellow-ish mood. You know, it's kind of like, I'd say, you know, of course, all my ballads and all my lovey-dovey kind of songs and real feeling stuff is written on my acoustic guitar.
And the electric is the bangers, you know,
The electric
hard stuff
is the rocking stuff. Yeah. I do have this power ballad, I guess you can call it, that I want to record probably next time we go in the studio as well.
is got a more of a late 80s, early 90s feel to it. You are more of today's kind of powered.
You know, I don't really understand how that works.
Okay.
You know, there's people that have listened to the new track, How Will I Know, and they've compared it to like, you know, Winds of Change from like the Scorpions or something like that. And which is an honor, of course, because that's an amazing track and the Scorpions are all-time greats. But it's funny because there are people that are kind of relating it to the old power ballads like from the 80s and stuff. And to me, I listen to it and go, well, it's just a ballad. I don't know why you put it in that category of, you know, stuff from the 80s, but I don't know. I don't understand how that works, but as long as I like it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So who are some of your favorite artists now? Who do you like, you know, or listen to a lot?
I listen to a ton of Christian rock.
Okay.
So, you know, mentioned Disciple earlier. Those are probably definitely one of my favorite bands. Everything they write is great. So, you know, bands like that and Thousand Foot Crutch and like Ashes Remain and Red and Demon Hunter, all those kind of bands. But I'm also a big Shinedown fan as well.
Okay.
So they're probably my favorite rock band. Shinedown, Godsmack, Disturbed. And if you want to go back quite a few years, the Beatles are probably like maybe my all-time favorite band, I would say.
I was never into the Beatles. And
Really?
again, maybe growing up, I listened to so much Christian music and the Beatles were played on the time and the radio and all that I was listening to, you know, it wasn't until I was in my 20s where I started to really listen to other bands, you know, I still was like Striper, Bloodgood, White Cross, those bands I liked.
Petra.
But yeah, but I really didn't listen to too much Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses until I was a little bit older. And then I, you know, because of my love for that metal music, you know, they really fit with what I'm listening to. And I've had the opportunity to see some of those bands in concert. And but I really, you know, it was probably a little older. And when the, you know, Beatles and a lot of people talk about Led Zeppelin and all that. And and Dave's got a lot of favorites that way. He had older brothers, and that were playing that music in the car
I do as
at
well.
home, and you can kind of listen to it.
It's the
And
opposite
so,
for me because I didn't grow up with any religion whatsoever. So I really didn't know very much about Christian bands when I was growing up. So, I was listening to, classic rock. And again, one of my all-time favorite bands is got to be Sabbath. Huge Sabbath fan, and Priest and Maiden and all those kind of bands. So Michael Schenker. So these are bands, Dokken. I was a big fan of Dokken. I liked Rat, so those were bands that I really followed in the beginning. And I still have a huge vinyl selection of all those bands as well.
I see. Yeah, that's a buddy I work with. He opened his own used record store, and so the other day I went and visited him. And he's got all these records in there, and it's interesting because he says, a lot of people got record players for Christmas and are coming into the store and buying some of that older vinyl.
Wow.
To play.
Okay.
It seems to be making a comeback, and in fact, there's a Christian label, Face Down Records, and they about everything they put out, for streaming, you can eventually buy in vinyl, which is great.
Yeah, vinyl's cool. Vinyl was cool. It was sad that it left. I'm glad to see it's coming back. Like I said, I've got so many records, and they're in a box or boxes. So I don't even know, Aaron, if they even play anymore. I don't know if I put them on the table and it'd go.
Yeah, I was just out in the garage and I found, I was looking for something and I opened a box and there's an old record player that we used to own, and so I had no idea we even still had it. I know I have some records. For in case you didn't know, me and my cousin did a Christian e-zine years ago, and all these record labels would send me not only CDs, but they would send me records too if they were pressing and all that. And
Very
so
cool.
I still have a ton of records out there.
Does that record player work? Did you plug it in?
I didn't plug it in. I'll have to find a record or two out there. I know we used to have some Lionel Richie, and I had you remember the artist Randy Stonehill, right? Or he's still around?
Yeah.
Him and Amy Grant did a duet years ago, and it was yellow vinyl, and I think I have that somewhere. So I'll have to pull those things out and see if they work. But it's great seeing vinyl come back, and I think most people just like buy it to collect it. But I'm sure there's people out there playing it. What was the first Christian group you ever heard? You became a Christian and you were like, wow.
Yeah, so I was probably DC Talk.
Okay. That you heard.
That was probably, yeah. So I was getting turned on to Christianity at that point in time, and a friend of mine who turned me on happened to know that I was really into rock. So he was like, hey, man, you should check out some Christian rock bands. And I was thinking, like a lot of people probably think that don't know that there's such a thing as Christian rock, they don't really know what to expect. Especially the heavier stuff, like I said, your Disciples and your Demon Hunter and all those kind of bands. So people are probably, or I know they're very surprised, because I've done interviews before with non-Christian podcasts, and they're like, oh, we love the stuff that you're doing, and it's like so great. And it's kind of like, well, I appreciate that, but I'm not the first one to do this. Believe it or not, there's other bands out there that have done this way, way, way before me. So, and that's a learning experience for them.
Do you go to any Christian music shows? I mean, have you gone to a lot of concerts?
When they're around. Yeah. I'm not that many come through Vegas, but yeah, when they come around.
Yeah,
Um,
we
a
go ahead.
a lot of them are the Christian contemporary ones. And I do listen to a lot of Christian contemporary music. As I mentioned earlier, there's, SOS radio is really popular out here. So I always put that on in the morning. But yeah, I like all kinds of the Christian stuff. I like the mellower stuff and I like the harder stuff as well.
Do you play at your church at all?
I don't.
You know, you don't. Okay.
I don't do the worship band thing.
You know, okay. Yeah, I have always, we got people in the church that are you going to go see Brandon Lake and some of the worship stuff? And I have always stayed away from that. I think the only time I went to a worship concert, was with Micah W. Smith and Third Day. They but they also played some of their original stuff, not just stuff from their worship albums.
Right.
But I always tell them, if I want to worship, I'll go to church on Sunday morning and worship with my youth pastor, and not
right.
I mean, with the worship pastor at my church and with the other people in the church, not pay and go to a show. But they, there's room for that. People do enjoy it.
The music is great. I mean,
yeah.
I find that when I'll watch some of the concerts too on YouTube, and they just seem so mellow. It's like everybody's just kind of sitting and they're just kind of watching the band kind of thing. And it's kind of like, I think to myself, get up, come on, man, it's a concert. Let's get these people moving. Let's get them, let's get them rocking. But it just kind of seems like, so mellow.
Yeah, we just went to a Toby Mac show, and that's anything but mellow. It was a lot of fun.
He's got some great songs.
Yes. I met him years ago, Toby McKeon, and it was a great conversation, and his heart and passion for ministry and music is phenomenal. And I can't, he's, I'm 54, turned 55 this year, and he's probably close to 60, and he's still out there touring and being energized and all that. And it's fantastic that he, the way he performs and gets the crowd going. And, I know he's helping change lives, and that's key. All that. As we wrap this up, we're going to, right after this break, we're going to play The Chosen One. We did talk about that earlier. How can people reach out to the Word66 and connect?
Well, you can always find us on the internet, on our website, which is just the word and then 66.com. That'll take you to the website. And if you want to check out our Facebook feeds and our Twitter and our Instagram, it kind of varies because the word 6 with the numerals 66 in some places was taken. So sometimes with the word SIXTY, that you might find us. But I'd say probably Facebook is the most current stuff that we have. So like on our website, we do posts and we do blogs, but we don't post everything on there. So like this will be all over the place, but like radio stations that are featuring us, we will keep that up to date on Facebook. So we've always got a lot of stuff to post on there. We're very grateful and very humbled and very thankful that there's a lot of places out there, a lot of different stations and magazines and things that do feature us quite often. So we do place those things on our Facebook. And as far as where you can purchase music, we're everywhere. We're on your Spotify's and your Deezers and your Pandora. Of course, we're on YouTube. We're also on
iTunes or Apple or
yeah,
Amazon Music?
iTunes and Apple, and you can also find us on, I just went blank, that other place. What's that other one where people can purchase music?
Bandcamp?
Bandcamp. Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
okay.
No, what happened there? I lost my train of thought here. But Bandcamp, all those kind of places. We do have a ton of merch that's available. Also, if you go to Christian Band T-shirts, you can find all stuff there. We have everything from T-shirts and stickers and tumblers and posters and all that kind of stuff as well.
That's great. And you talked about going back in the studio. When is that song going to be released? When's the target date for that?
Probably looking at about another month or so. I kind of like to let the other one do its thing, you know. And I'm trying. I'm doing a lot of work to try to get it on those Christian contemporary stations, which is difficult. It's really hard to do. Because that's commercial radio kind of thing, and it's really hard to get it on there. Even though they don't actually do commercials, because they stay commercial free by doing telethons, you know, like every, you know, whatever, every quarter or something like that. So so they stay commercial free, but again, those are stations that you get in your car and you turn on the radio and the music is on there, so you don't have to actually search anywhere. It's not an internet station, so to speak.
So they should be requesting How Will I Know on K-Love.
Yes,
to help you get on
SOS Radio, K-Love,
yeah.
Air One. You could suggest How Will I Know, and also Just to Show My Love is another one that we're also trying to get on there as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your time. It's always, I think this is your third or fourth time being on the show.
Yes.
And
yes,
it's always a fun time to catch up.
Always.
And you know, when Dave travels to Vegas, when I travel to Vegas next, because it is a good destination to visit every once in a while. We'll have to, you know, see each other in person and chat. So thank you, Steve. People, get out there, request the songs on K-Love, get him on commercial radio. That'll help them out. And then when they do their little tour this summer, hopefully later this year, go out and support them. They would appreciate that. So, and here is the chosen one on the Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience.